Okay, good afternoon. Hello, everyone, and happy Giving Tuesday. So great to be online with you all today. So excited to lead today's chat for Giving Tuesday, and we're really going to just get to hear from some of our experts at the Marine Mammal Center. I'm going to give it a second for folks to join, and if you'd like to let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from, would love to hear where everybody's watching today. And thanks again. We're so excited to be joining you for this wonderful Giving Tuesday. We had a couple of other broadcasts live behind the scenes today. So if you haven't had a chance to check out the Marine Mammal Center's website or Facebook or YouTube, you can find some of those previous broadcasts on there. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining. We're excited to share with you how your support is helping marine mammals and our ocean and advancing the center's mission. Some of you may already know that 90% of the center's operating budget comes from private donations from individuals just like you tuning in today. So, thank you so much. This work is possible because of you. So, we really wanted to help share that and thank you for supporting our work to help heal those sick and injured seals, sea lions, and even those bigger marine mammals like whales and dolphins, which we'll get to talk a little bit more about today during our broadcast. I also wanted to share that for today, since it's Giving Tuesday, your gift is actually going twice as far. You can double your dollar if you donate today. And you can support our mission here at the center by texting OCEAN to 41444. And if you give today on Giving Tuesday before midnight, some of our generous donors, Denise and Gary David, will actually match your gift up to 25,000. So don't miss that opportunity to double your impact, double your dollar and your donation on this very special Giving Tuesday. Now, as always, would love to see you enter into our comments here where you're tuning in from. Also, feel free to put any questions that you have into the comments here, and we'll try and make sure to answer those either in the live or we'll be sure to get back to you in the comments. But now is your chance. We have our experts here joining us today. So if you've got any burning questions, feel free to put those into the comments. So I see we've got a few more people joining us for the live. Hello, welcome. So good to see you. You're in the right spot for Giving Tuesday. We're going to be going through a question and answer with some of our experts as part of our cetacean field research in the Bay, as well as our work with entanglement with whales and dolphins. So, really exciting stuff that we're going to get to. And I'm joined today by a couple members of our field operations and response team. So, our experts, we've got Bill Keener from our cetacean field research team, and he's going to help talk today about whales and dolphins and porpoises right here in San Francisco Bay. We're also joined by Kathy. Thank you for joining, Kathy, who is our director of field operations and response. So, she's going to be sharing some information around our work with disentanglement with whales, and she also, through her career, has disentangled dozens of marine mammals, both whales and sea lions, during her career. So great to have her expertise. And we're also joined by Justin Hodges, our Northern Range Operation Manager. Thanks for being here, Justin. And he oversees our response efforts along our range in Northern California, including the San Francisco Bay Area. So thank you all for joining us. It's so wonderful to have you today. And we'll just jump right in. Again, leave any questions that you have in the comments for our experts here, and we'll kind of just kick off with a little update around what's happening right now in San Francisco Bay. And I'd love to hear from Bill with a quick update. What have you been
Yeah,
seeing in the Bay recently?
yeah, sure. Well, along the coast and bay, we have what we call cetaceans, which are not pinnipeds. So pinnipeds are the seals and sea lions. The cetaceans is the family of whales and dolphins and porpoises. And so that's the thing our team is really focused on, doing research out there, looking at these wild populations to see how they're doing, to see if they're being affected by human activity like shipping, like pollution. And so one of the things we're looking at right now are, well, here's a photo of a harbor porpoise right near the Golden Gate Bridge. So that's something you can go out and see every day now. That the bay seems to be healthier. There's more porpoises coming in to feed on small fish. And going out to the Golden Gate Bridge or along the shoreline in San Francisco Bay is a great place to see harbor porpoises. We've got the little bit bigger bottlenose dolphins that have been coming in the bay recently, just in the last week or so. People have been seeing them. Here's a picture of three bottlenose dolphins near the Richmond-Santerfeld Bridge. And recently they've been seen off the Ocean Beach in San Francisco, Half Moon Bay even, and the Marin County coast, in fact, all the way up to Bodega Bay. So they're definitely around right now, and we've been getting reports. In fact, if you see some, you can also send in a little report by going to the Marine Mammal Center website, and there's a reported animal, and there's one for whales and dolphins. And then the bigger whales, like the humpback whales, have definitely still been off our local coast, meaning the Gulf of the Farallones, Marin County, San Francisco. And Kathy maybe can talk a little bit about the fact that their presence there means something for the crab fishermen. But these animals, the big humpbacks like this one, they're going to be leaving our area fairly soon. They migrate to Mexico for the winter, Mexico, or even down as far as Central America. So they'll be leaving at the end of November, and we expect to see them back in April. But meanwhile, what's going to happen is in a month or two, we're going to start seeing gray whales along our coast migrating down from Alaska, where they feed, to their Baja, Mexico breeding grounds. So we've got all these different species of cetaceans here, and it's just amazing to be able to work with them, to be able to try to bring protections for them. And that's what the Marine Mammal Center really does, is study them with the eye to have conservation practices to really be able to protect these animals. And with your help, we can do that. So remember, if you would text 41444, that would be fantastic today. Text OCEAN.
Thank you so much, Bill. And that's great to hear for any of our viewers today that are joining locally from San Francisco, that there are actually places here locally that they can see a lot of these whales and dolphins. Do you have any recommendations for where our viewers can check them out as our gray whales are migrating, for example?
Yeah, so when the gray whales come on down the coast, they'll be hitting that more in about a month from now. Sort of Christmas time is when they really start getting here. And so you want to go to any high bluff that looks above the coast, like Fort Funston in San Francisco is a spot, or you can go all the way up to Point Reyes to the lighthouse and look at them as they round the point there. But for dolphins and porpoises, that's something you can see a little bit closer into the bay. And so going out on the Golden Gate Bridge at high tide is what I do when I study them. And that's pretty much guaranteed now to be able to find harbor porpoises. So you can always see one species or more of cetacean basically any day of the year now in the San Francisco Bay Area. And that is something that's amazing. It's changed over my lifetime studying them. And it's because of the efforts of people to protect the habitat, protect the animals. And that's what we're doing.
That's amazing. And you shared that any of our viewers or people viewing these animals can go to our online portal to report their sightings as well. So that's a
Yeah,
great way for
that
people
would
to
be
get
a great
involved.
help to our research. We'd appreciate it. And also, if there's any questions, put them in the comments, and we'll try to get to them.
Thanks so much, Bill. And I know that a lot of our viewers and followers are really interested in the impact of our urban environment on these large marine mammals as well, especially considering that San Francisco is such a busy shipping port and a big area for fishing. So I'm hoping, Kathy, could you speak a little bit more on your work with the large whales in this area and maybe touching on some of the entanglements that you've seen?
Yeah, thanks, Laura. And thank you, Bill. I have the pleasure of working with Bill and his team and going out in the bay and beyond to view the cetaceans as they're offshore feeding or migrating through. And it's really exciting to see these large cetaceans in our local waterways. But unfortunately, they do encounter some challenges. I am a member of NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Large Whale Entanglement Response Network. And I am one of the trained and permitted individuals that can go out and respond to entangled whales. The training is very detailed and pretty intensive to become part of this network, but pretty excited that the Marine Mammal Center has broadened our team efforts, and it includes members of all of our locations from San Luis Obispo up through San Francisco area and even further north. So we conduct regular training. And in this photo here, this is a humpback whale with two of the members from the Marine Mammal Center and another person from NOAA Southwest Fisheries Science Center, where we are disentangling a humpback whale. So as you can see, we are in a small boat, and you always work in small boats. We never get in the water. It is illegal to get in the water. It is incredibly dangerous work. You can see that we're wearing helmets. We have life jackets on. We utilize specialized equipment that allows us to remain safe, and it is safe for the animal. We use poles as an extensions to reach parts of the whales where we can't reach. In this particular photo, I'm the person in the middle that's bent over holding the green line that was entangled on the whale, and the whale had been swimming in a circle. It was a recent entanglement, so it was pretty active, and we were spinning in a circle around the whale. Ideally, our safe spot to be is behind the tail of the whale, kind of in the notch between its two fluke blades. That is our safe spot. But we do all of our work in small boats. One of the first things we do when we see an entanglement is we really want to understand what the entanglement looks like. So we'll approach the whale in a small boat. We have multiple other boats out there for safety and support and communications with shore. So while the photos look like there's only a few people involved in a response, it's really a large number of people that are participating in the response. But we want to put some additional flotation on the whale to slow it down and help make it visible. So you can see those two orange polyballs that were attached to the entanglement on the whale. And we will turn our engine off, grab that entanglement that's coming off of the whale, and walk hand over hand to get as close to that whale as possible, and then use specialized poles with a camera at the end so we can dip the camera under the water and over the whale to get video of the entanglement. And one exciting thing that we're doing at the center right now is utilizing drones to help support our entanglement response and research efforts. And one way that you can help us is text Ocean to 41444 and help make sure that we have the necessary equipment to safely and effectively respond to these whales. This is underwater photos from a camera from a whale up in the Eureka area that was successfully disentangled. This was prior to the disentanglement of the whale, but we may only have one chance to make a cut on the whale, and we want to make sure that where that cut is going to remove all of the gear on the whale and not cause a constriction or tighten it in a different part on the body. So we utilize cameras for that effort. And then we have specialized tools with knives with curved blades. So if we touch the whale, we don't cause additional damage on the whale. And then we'll take as minimal number of cuts as possible and remove the gear, and then collect the gear that comes off of the whale. We don't want to contribute to marine debris, but we also want to use that information to help inform prevention. So I'm on the response side along with many others on my team and a whole vast network of partners and individuals along our coast. But I'm also on the prevention side. And I really hope that from the prevention side, we can put the response side out of business. On the prevention side, I am a member of the California Dungeness Crab Fishing Gear Working Group. And part of my role on this working group is to assess the risk of entanglement to humpback and blue whales and leatherback turtles in the Dungeness crab fishery. And based on that level of risk, what management action is appropriate to help reduce that risk. So we are partners with Cascadia Research Collective on a grant to conduct surveys offshore throughout the entire Dungeness crab fishing grounds from the Oregon border down to Morro Bay. And we're doing surveys and counting the whales that we see. We're observing what the whales are eating. And we're sharing all of this information with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife and the fishermen to help inform that risk assessment. In this past year, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife put regulations into place for this fishery that at the start of the season, which should have been November 15th for Sonoma County and Mendocino County South, but is currently delayed due to the number of whales. But the regulations state that if 20 whales are seen in a specific geographic area, some management action needs to take place. So we have contributed data from our surveys to inform those regulations, and then as part of the working group, making recommendations with the fishermen to help reduce that risk. The Marine Mammal Center is also overseeing the Solar Logger project, which the Solar Logger is a small electronic monitoring device that we could put on fishing boats and whale watching boats to see if the data collected could help inform the understanding of increased risk of entanglement in the fishery. It's also used by the fishermen as an electronic monitoring device and can help them transit closed areas or provide data to the California Department of Fish and Wildlife when needed. So really excited to play a role both on the response and prevention side. And I'm going to transition it over now to Justin, who works on entanglement amongst other things locally here in the Bay Area, but on a smaller species than the whales.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kathy. As she alluded to, I do pinniped disentanglements. More specifically, we kind of target Pier 39 since that's where a lot of animals tend to pop up. We see a pretty high incidence of them there, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. What we do is just as important as the whales. We see a lot of fishing gear interactions happening over there. But sort of the biggest sort of first step is you guys out there, members of the public helping us, giving us that call. Everyone out there is our eyes and ears. We don't know that these animals are there in distress, sitting in the office. We need you guys to call us in. And our hotline is 415-289-SEAL or 415-289-7325. Give us a call on the hotline. We'll get information from you and we'll send a volunteer out to sort of assess what's going on. And then from there, it can take, hours to days to make a plan, depending on location of the animal, severity of the injury, how often the animal's there, that kind of stuff. Because it is such an involved response, we want to make sure we do it right the first time. These are pretty up and wild animals, so we want to get them disentangled. And we want to do it safely as well. And there's a lot of public around, a lot of public interest, so we want to keep everyone safe that's untrained as well as the trained people safe.
Absolutely. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned that, for some of these rescues, it can take days to hours. You have to be very strategic around how you're planning this rescue to ensure the safety of the animals as well as any of the people involved. And we can see a picture here of a spot like Pier 39, for example, which is famous in San Francisco. It's known to be a really popular destination where we see a lot of California sea lions hauling out on those docks there. So for these areas where there's dense numbers of other animals around, how do you approach that rescue, knowing that there's lots of other animals present too?
Yeah, like I said, human safety is, one of our biggest concerns. We want to make sure that the public's safe. And then also, secondary safety, or I guess primary 2.0 safety, is the other animals involved, right? We don't want to capture the wrong animal. We don't want an animal to get trampled. We don't want an animal to get injured in some way, shape, or form. So that's why it takes a lot of good pre-planning. We want to make sure the animal's hauling out in the same location every single time. We want to make sure the animal's hauling out every day in a row, in the same place every time. We also want to make sure that we have the correct amount of resources to be used. These guys are up, they're wild animals. They're packed tightly, as you can see in this photo. So we use kind of specialized equipment. Sometimes we'll use a remote sedation, a specialized dart that has some tranquilizer in it, and we'll try and dart the animal to kind of separate it and sedate it away from the other animals, and we'll capture it that way. So a lot of specialized skills and personnel go into this. It's a lot bigger than just sort of our regular beach response, but that's because it is a higher risk sort of response as well.
Absolutely. It takes a village, similar to the whale and disentanglement work that Kathy was speaking to, that, it's a very strategic process, not always as simple as just cutting an animal loose from an entanglement. And so I see that we've got another question actually that came in from one of our viewers, Leslie. Curious about going back to working with those larger marine mammals like whales. Kathy, do you ever get a sense that the whales can sense that that you're trying to help them?
I think the whales definitely know we're there. One of the things that we do is try to sensitize them that we're going to be around, because a response can be as short as a day or it can take up to a month, pending whether and where the whale moves to. But also the length of time the whale has been entangled and the severity of the entanglement influence kind of the whale's reaction around us. So I would say they definitely know we're there. And the more recent the entanglement, the more active they are, and the more they may be fighting an approach that you are trying to do.
Thank you so much, Kathy. That
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense. And so incredible that the center and you specifically, this whole team here is able to really contribute to this global effort of the conservation of marine mammals, including whales and dolphins. And so, Justin, you had shared that 24-hour hotline that people can call and report 415-289-SEAL to report marine mammals in distress. And then, of course, today, as part of Giving Tuesday, another way that our viewers can help out is just by texting OCEAN to 41444. And you're going to, if you donate through that, you'll be able to double your dollar today for Giving Tuesday. So, two great ways to help contribute to these global efforts that the center is contributing to. All right. So make sure if you've got any other questions while we have our experts on the line here, feel free to put into the comments any questions you have about our work with whales and dolphins or disentanglement, and we'll be sure to get to those here in the live. All right. I see another question that came in from Jenny, wondering if other rescue teams in the area assist with rescues. Perhaps, Justin, you can help speak to some of our partnerships along the range.
Yeah, absolutely. With the pinniped disentanglement, we don't see too many partnerships. We're pretty self-contained with our resources there. But I'll let sort of Kathy take the more detailed response here with large whale disentanglement. We definitely partner with people up and down the coast, within our range as well as outside of it. But Kathy, do you want to touch on that a little bit more about other organizations that you work with or have worked with?
Yeah, we are part of NOAA's Large Whale Entanglement Response Network. So we work with other groups along our coast. Most kind of closest in location to Sausalito, we work with Marine Life Studies down in Monterey. We work with the Whale Watch boats in San Francisco and down in Monterey. We're partners in NOAA's Stranding Network. So there are organizations up and down all coasts. We work closely with SR3 up in Washington. I do want to add that we have a lot of research partners too. So I think partnering makes teams and people more successful and more effective. I know that this year, earlier this year, Bill and his team were able to identify a gray whale in San Francisco Bay that sadly we found dead on a beach, but they were able to make some observations of it while it was still alive. And so really unique. And I think it's important that we continue to partner with other organizations in the network. And Bill, would you like to add anything about research partners?
Yeah, sure. I mean, one of the other research partners that we work with is Cascadia Research Collective. Kathy's already mentioned this group in terms of her offshore surveys in boats, but Cascadia has also worked with us inside San Francisco Bay to tag humpback whales. And by tagging, I don't mean anything invasive. I mean a little sensor package that is stuck on with some suction cups. It lasts for a couple of hours, but it gives us an incredible amount of data because this little package is stuck onto their body. It follows them down and can sense what they're doing underwater, their movements underwater. It tracks. It can have video, and it can also tell us what depth they're getting to because we want to know where they're feeding on the fish. So we can learn all kinds of things by partnering with an organization like Cascadia Research Collective that has this tagging a special permit from the federal government to be able to do that.
Thank you, Bill. Yes, certainly working with these larger marine mammals has its challenges and needs lots of partners to help make this work possible. And kind of shifting, we had another question around our work with seals and sea lions, kind of similar to what we were talking about earlier. If whales are aware when we're trying to help, um, is it similar with seals or sea lions? Do they realize that they are being helped, or do they resist at all?
I can say from my experience that they are definitely wild animals. The entangled animals that we see at Pier 39, especially, they're typically pretty healthy. As grievous as entanglements look, they are sort of a slow, injury for them. It may seem sort of scary to see blood at first, but they're really healthy and robust for a very long time, and that does come out when you try and capture them for disentanglement, as opposed to an animal that may be sick with some sort of internal disease on the beach. You can walk right up to these guys. They know we're there pretty much as soon as we enter into Pier 39, and they're fighting and running as much as possible. And as I mentioned before, that's where that sort of specialized remote sedation comes into play, where we want to sort of bring them down, calm them down a little bit, because some of these guys can be 300, 400, 500 pounds, and I'm not big enough to wrestle with that. But definitely they're wild animals, and they act as such for sure.
Makes sense. And good that we've got other techniques to help make sure that we can get to them safely. Thank you for that. And we did have another question come in, kind of looking more towards your experience and what previous work or research experience helped you to get into this field. And it'd be great to hear from all of you on this.
Kathy, you want to start with that one, or?
Sure, I'll take that one. I got my start as a volunteer at the Marine Mammal Center. I moved out here from Indiana and fell in love with California and the ocean and all of the marine life in it. And through my experience with volunteering, I met some contacts who really connected me to others in the field and gave me opportunities to go out and participate in research and learn about whale entanglement response, and was able to move my career forward from there. So I owe it all to being a volunteer here at the Marine Mammal Center.
Well, I would have to agree with you on that one, because I started a long time ago, back when the Marine Mammal Center was a small organization. It's grown into this incredible, organization with a global reach, and something that it can offer literally the world on how to rescue and take care of marine mammals. But I started in the 1970s, a few years after the Marine Mammal Center was founded. And here, many years later, I've done a lot of going out on boats. Just being out on boats and observing the animals for yourself is really important. So I spent a lot of time on whale watching boats in the beginning to learn about how do dolphins and porpoises and whales act in the wild. So that's where I began.
Yeah, I think it's a hat trick for all three of us. I started my sort of tenureship career in marine mammals at TMMC as well. I have a degree in marine biology from San Francisco State, and I wanted some hands-on volunteer experience while I was looking for a job, and volunteered doing animal care crew and research and whatever else I could get my hands on here at the Marine Mammal Center. And it just evolved into a job, and it's been great ever since. As Kathy and Bill have alluded to, seeing the sort of global impact and the ocean conservation impact that we've seen and are able to work with and do on our various levels is amazing and very rewarding.
Wow, incredible. Thank you all for sharing, and so great to also share that for our viewers today, that they can get involved too through volunteering with the center if they're interested in any of this work and learning more. So make sure to head to our website marinemammalcenter.org to check out our volunteer opportunities, and such a testament to how we're able to all work together to advance global ocean conservation. And a huge thank you to the three of you for being here with us on Give Giving Tuesday. Thank you so much to our experts. We're going to go ahead and wrap it for today. And just a reminder that today until midnight, you can double your donation, double your dollar by texting OCEAN to 41444. So help support our center, help us with this mission to advance conservation and do something great on this Giving Tuesday. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. Make sure to check out our other previous videos and live broadcasts for Giving Tuesday on our website. And thank you so much. Hope everyone has a safe and wonderful holiday. And thank you so much for supporting the Marine Mammal Center. Take care, everybody.